Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I got some big news coming for you DC fans out there, and that is kind of an announcement of a new project regarding Zatanna, as well as some other bits and bobs here to talk about. Really, I'm going to be talking about Zatanna, and I'm also going to be talking about just kind of updating you guys on a few different DC projects that this does kind of give us some update on a little bit here. And that is that today was the AT&T Investors Day presentation, and while I don't think the presentation is open to the public like the Disney one was a few days ago, I want to say that was, as well as, you know, Hasbro's was, and Disney had their Investor Day thing back in December. And I want to say HBO Max had one recently. I can't remember if that was out for the public or not. I wasn't really tuned into that because that didn't really have much news. But AT&T had their Investors Day today. And again, can't find like the actual audio from it or anything like that, or the video from it. But what has come out is an image that was part of the DC presentation that shows basically a bunch of logos for their upcoming DC projects. Now, this is mostly upcoming stuff. It has movies and TV shows. A lot of people are saying, like, for this stuff that people are talking about with this, that it's HBO Max. It's not really HBO Max because it does showcase movies that aren't coming to HBO Max and TV shows that are on the CW. And I guess maybe you could say, oh, well, they'll be streaming on HBO Max, which they probably will be. But yeah, I don't think that's really that really hits the mark that we're looking for here. But either way, it does. Let's kind of break this down a little bit. So the main two things people were talking about were Batgirl and Zatanna. Now this logo board, I guess you could say, has a bunch of logos on it. Some of which are clearly prototype logos, or even not even prototype logos at all. More like just like placeholder logos. Like they'll just be the name of the show in like text that even slightly references what it's about against a weird background. Like things like GCPD, DMZ, and Superhero High are literally just text against a colored background. Zatanna and Batgirl are a little bit more creative, especially Zatanna, but basically the main two things are Batgirl and Zatanna. That's what people are talking about. And a lot of people are saying, oh, these are HBO Max exclusive TV shows. Hold on there, partner. That's not what's going on here. Not exactly. Well, maybe for Zatanna, but we'll get back to that. This basically just confirms that Batgirl and Zatanna projects are in the works at DC, not specifically HBO Max, as far as I can tell, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. And that it's not specifically a movie or a TV show. However, I can say Batgirl is a movie because that is a project that has been in the works for a long time as a movie that is definitely happening. And I was really surprised that people were actually like talking about it like this. It was this big reveal that DC was doing a Batgirl thing when like we were just talking about it a few months ago. I don't understand how it was like so long ago that bringing it back up is this huge thing. But basically, for those of you who don't know, the background behind Batgirl is it was first announced in around March of 2017 with Joss Whedon writing, directing, and producing. And at the time, that seemed like a great idea because, you know, Joss Whedon is known for making these strong female characters, and he's known for, he's obviously done some great superhero work in the past with the Avengers movies. So it was like, oh, that's an easy home run right there. But then in early 2018, he dropped out of the project. The reason that was given was that he couldn't get a good story for it. Maybe that's the truth, or maybe that's just part of the truth. But either way, I think it'd be dumb to say that the fact that Justice League didn't do very well, and this was the time when those allegations were coming out about him, didn't have any effect on him leaving Batgirl. But a few months later, Christina Hodson, who you may know as the writer of Bumblebee, as well as some DC projects, which I'll talk about in a second, was the writer. And a lot of people think this is falling into obscurity because there hasn't been much update since, but there's a reason why. So Christina Hodson ended up writing Birds of Prey, and while I still don't think it's confirmed, it's been all but confirmed that she's the main, like, credited writer of The Flash. And the reason why Batgirl isn't having as much traction is because reportedly it's somewhat of a spin-off of The Flash, where The Flash is going to introduce the Michael Keaton Batman, and the Batgirl movie is going to have Michael Keaton, his Batman, training this Batgirl, which makes sense. So basically, it was talked about a few months ago because Walter Hamada in an interview stated it as one of 2 different potential movies that could be HBO Max exclusives. That does not mean it is definitely an HBO Max exclusive, just if they're considering it for that, but we'll see. So yeah, that's one thing. The real big news here is Zatanna. So there were reports mid last year that DC was working on a Zatanna movie. And now that this has come out, there's like talk about, oh, is this a Zatanna movie? Is this a Zatanna TV show? We don't even know if it's live action or animated. Keep that in mind. We don't know if it's a movie or a TV show. If I had to guess, though, and this is me guessing, it's probably an HBO Max exclusive series that's live action and is being produced by Bad Robot Productions, and J.J. Abrams is executive producing, and it's going to be in the same universe as the Constantine series and the Justice League Dark series. It's kind of this Justice League Dark universe on HBO Max, which kind of, it all fits together. Justice League Dark was announced back in 2019, and then about a month ago, I want to say, they announced that they were doing a Constantine series with J.J. Abrams, and I think Zatanna is actually going to be the first of those shows, and then Constantine will happen, and then we'll get Justice League Dark as maybe a spin-off or team-up type deal. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think it'd be really cool if they folded in the Swamp Thing TV series as part of that universe, but we'll see. So that's what I think it is, but it could be not that. So let's kind of go through all of these movies and shows, because on Twitter, I've seen a lot of people just being incredibly confused about these things and being like, what's this and what's that? So let's go through each of these. It should be on your screen right now. We got Black Adam going from top to bottom and left to right. Black Adam, it seems that the movies on here are all movies that have production start dates or production start periods, in that they're all supposed to start production sometime this year. I think that's what all of these shows have in common and all of these movies have in common. And they're also all stuff, in the case of TV shows, that's ordered, which is interesting because that does provide an update for one of these in particular, which I'll get to. So we got Black Adam, which has a director and a writer and a lot of cast, and is supposed to start production in a few months. It still doesn't have a release date. It was at one point supposed to come out in December of this year, but since then it's lost that release date. I think Warner Brothers just doesn't know where to put it on the slate. I'm guessing sometime mid next year, because in the DC film slate, in terms of the live action stuff, we have the Batman coming out in March, and then we have the Flash coming out in November, and Aquaman 2 coming out in December, so that leaves a big gap to put something else in there. Then we got, next to it, we got Harley Quinn, which is, that started out, it's had 2 seasons so far, premiered in late 2019, animated series that premiered on DC Universe, but it is having a 3rd season, which is going to be on HBO Max. Got Superman and Lois, which they do have advertisements for upcoming things that are TV series that I don't know. It's kind of a gray area as to what constitutes the TV series that are running. I'm guessing for Superman and Lois specifically, it's just that it's like brand new that they're advertising it, so we have that. If I'm not mistaken, that's not the series' main logo, though. It seems like a weird proto-logo or something. But anyway, then extra we got Static Shock, which I'm sure that's a placeholder logo as well. That's a movie. That was the other movie that Walter Hamada said might be HBO Max. I think both Static Shock and Batgirl are 2 movies that definitely should not be on HBO Max, but that's a discussion for another time. It's interesting. I guess that means that movie is going to be in production sometime this year, which is interesting if my theory is correct. Because every other movie on here either is already in production or is set to start production this year. So that's interesting. The next route, we got Blue Beetle, which it was just announced last month that has a director and is supposed to start production sometime late this year. I said in that video and where it was announced that I could see this being an HBO Max movie, but we'll see. Then next to that, we got Batgirl, and then going down to the next row, we got Peacemaker, which that also looks like a placeholder logo. It doesn't look very creative, so I'm guessing it's placeholder. That is currently in production and will be premiering on HBO Max. That's a series, obviously, that's coming on HBO Max in January of next year. That was recently announced. Then next to that, we got Green Lantern, which that is literally just a generic Green Lantern logo, not the official logo of the series as far as I know. All of these series are series, as far as I can tell, are series that have been ordered, aren't just in pilot phase like Painkiller and Naomi, and are also supposed to start production sometime this year, I think is the formula there. And Green Lantern has been stated it will start production sometime this year. So next to that, we got Aquaman 2, which is also supposed to start production sometime this year for release December of next year. Next to that, we got the logo for the Flash movie, which is also supposed to start production in a few months. Then next to that, we got Teen Titans Go, which I guess they just want to represent the kids section, so they put that in there. Apparently they're labeling it as a spin-off. It just seems like a season with like a subtitle arc based on The Night Begins to Shine. That's coming to Cartoon Network. It's not a huge thing in news. Next to that, we actually have a video game. They do advertise the 2 video games here. They have the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League video game next to that. And then going down, I want to say that's the first official logo for Bat Wheels. That doesn't look like a proto logo to me. But that's also interesting because when Bat Wheels was announced, it was just something that was in development, and now this is confirmation that it's in production, or at the very least ordered. So that's cool. That's going to be on HBO Max and on Cartoon Network. And then next to that, we got the Batman, which is finishing up production. It's supposed to finish this month. Then we got the Zatanna logo next to that. Next to that is Supergirl. The CW shows, I'm not sure what the formula is for those, because obviously Superman and Lois is brand new, but Supergirl is ending this year. Some people are saying, oh, does that mean we're getting a Supergirl movie? I don't think so. That is like the CW TV logo. But either way, it is kind of odd. At first I was like, well, maybe the CW shows that like the new season hasn't premiered yet. That's what they're doing. But Legends of Tomorrow isn't on here, and Batwoman is on here, and it has started its 2nd season. So that's a little odd. Next to that, we got Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which is also starting production this year for a release in the early parts of 2023. It has a good amount of cast. They recently cast Rachel Zegler in an undisclosed role, so that's interesting. Then we got Batwoman next to it. The logo for that is different a little bit from the TV series. I saw some people on Twitter saying, follow me on Twitter, by the way, link in the channel, on my channel page. But I saw some people being like, oh, the Batwoman logo is quite different from the TV logo. Does that mean that that's a Batwoman movie or a TV show, maybe an animated show or something for HBO Max? I don't think so, just because they already have a Batgirl movie and a Batwoman TV show. I think having another Batwoman project would step on the toes of at least one of those things. Then we got the Suicide Squad, which obviously is coming out later this year, is in post-production. I don't think it's been announced that it's completed, but it might be. I can't remember exactly. By the way, if this video wasn't coming out today, the second part of my Suicide Squad fix video, where I fixed the 2016 Suicide Squad movie, would be coming out, so subscribe for that. That's coming out tomorrow now. In the meantime, you can watch part 1. It should be one of the cards on this video should be Suicide Squad Fixed Part 1, so check that out. Next to that, we have GCPD, which is kind of exciting that they do that could just be a placeholder title. I want to say they have been kind of using that title in announcements for the series, but GCPD might be the official name for it. We don't know. That is supposed to start production basically like not long after the Batman ends production, and that is a very, very basic, it's literally just white text against a blue background, so I don't think that's like an official logo of any kind. Next to that is DMZ, which I actually didn't recognize. Turns out that's, I think, a limited series of 4 episodes being co-produced with Array Productions, which is Ava DuVernay's company, who's also making the Naomi pilot for the CW, and she's also the co-writer and director of The New Gods for DC. And that's actually the reason I didn't know about it, is it's based off of a Vertigo comic, not a DC comic, but Vertigo is obviously owned by DC. I think it was absorbed into DC recently, but DMZ was a Vertigo comic. Next to that is the video game Gotham Knights. The next to that is Superhero High, which is supposed to start production this year, I guess. That's Elizabeth Banks is producing that, and that's for HBO Max. That has a series order. And the next to that is League of Super Pets, which had me confused because there is an animated Super Pets movie coming out next year theatrically. But last I checked, it was called DC's Super Pets, so I guess they changed the name or something. But that's interesting. And I didn't think it was supposed to be the League of Super Pets. I thought it was just supposed to be Crypto and 1 or 2 other characters that were original, but I guess not. So yeah, that's all the projects that are on there. That is interesting that it kind of shows you DC's priorities of, okay, these are all of our projects that are either coming soon or are going to start production soon. So what did you guys think of all this? I know this is a longer video. Let me know your thoughts about all these projects in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe for daily videos on the franchises you love, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.